All right. Let's get ripping here. All right, guys, what we're going to do tonight is we're going to be replacing the PCB board on a Runcam 2. I've got a couple, well, I've actually got a lot of Runcam 2s, but lost a couple, and I decided to order the PCB boards directly from Runcam, $39.99, half the cost of the Runcam 2 camera, which are typically $79.99. So with these, I decided to go ahead and get the PCB board, and we're going to replace this board real quick. So let's get after it. So first thing I'm going to tell you, you really want a brand new, very sharp screwdriver to do this. Somehow or another, they figured out a way to torque these little tiny screws into this plastic at about 100 foot-pounds. So they're in there. So you just want to make sure you got a good screwdriver to get these out. First thing we're going to do is we're going to pull the lens cover off, or I'm sorry, the lens protector. And it's these two screws in the bottom. They're just a small tapered screw. Throw these in. And the lens protector comes right off. And when you order a brand new Runcam, you get two of those lens protectors with it. So if you break one, you just a couple screws and you change them right out. One thing I probably should have done was take the battery out. So pull the rear cover off, pull out your battery and your memory card. Make sure you don't launch it across the room like I do usually. And then the 4 screws on the bottom. Like I said, you want a good stout screwdriver, nice sharp one, so that way you don't strip these screws, because if you strip them, it's going to be a job to get this thing apart. So get these screws loose. And this is a really, really fast process on these things. Makes it super simple. And when you look at the quality of the video from the Runcam and the GoPros, they're pretty similar. The only thing I did on this one was I actually got a GoPro lens, so I have a little bit more of that wide fisheye look on this one. This is why this is one of my favorite cameras, especially with this lens on it. I've done a lot of air-to-air video with this camera, with this lens, and they came out fantastic. So, all right. So once you get the screws loose, you just want to very carefully split the halves. Make sure you got all your screws all the way out. There we go. Now, when you slide these apart, you want to make sure that you don't pull on the camera tape. If you look down in there, you see the back of the camera. It's actually attached to the bottom half. You want to work these out so that way you're not stressing the camera tape right here. This camera tape is super, super fragile. So usually what I'll do at this point is I'll try and work the camera out of its holder so that way the board and camera come out together. There we go. So you see this little pocket right here. The bottom of this camera fits in there super tight. That way you're not worried about stressing the tape on the camera itself. Now, on the back of this connector, this white connector, there's a black strip right here. That black strip is actually what holds the camera tape in place. So flip that up and then very gently work the camera tape out. Sometimes they're a little snug, but you don't want to yank on them. And just go ahead and inspect your camera tape. Make sure you don't have any burn marks or anything like that, or any really bad worn marks. This one looks really good. So the board, it's kind of hard to tell what happens to these. Oh, well, I see what happened. If you look real close, you can see how this one got crushed. Yeah, that would probably do it. I'm sure that probably shorted something underneath that cover. So thanks for your service, buddy. let's go on to the next one. Let's pull a new one out. So like I said, these are $39.99 from Runcam. Be patient. It's worth the wait. You see these online for ridiculous amounts of money. I saw one, I think it was from Amazon, for like 60 bucks. Well, if you're going to spend 60 bucks on it, just get a new camera. But it was worth the wait. It took about 2 weeks to get these. But I've got quite a few of these cameras, and it's worth having them all working. So let's get this out of the bag. This is the new one. They look really similar. There's really not much of a difference when you look at them. The Wi-Fi board on that side's blue instead of the new one's green. This one doesn't have a crushed battery holder. This one does. Pretty much about it, really. There's not really any big difference. On these, this little gold microphone right here is your microphone. So if you want to mute this microphone a little bit to get rid of some of the wind noise that you typically will get with a lot of these cameras, or the prop wash noise from your quad, what I'll do is I'll take a piece of dense foam, and I'll typically, when I go to put it back into the body of the camera, I will wedge that piece of foam in between the body of the camera, where on the inside there's these holes here in the front. I don't know if you can see those. I think you can. These holes are your microphone holes. So I'll take a little piece of foam and I'll wedge that in there when I put the board back together. I don't have any foam with me right now, but so when you go to put the camera back in, make sure that your black lever is flipped up, and very gently slide the camera tape into the holder here. It's pretty easy to tell because you see this gold line right here, and it lines up basically with the front edge of the board. So if you get it back that far, you know you're probably locked in. And then flip your black lever down. You can see it's nice and flush, and the camera's reinstalled. So take your bottom half of your cover, and slide the PCB board and the camera in at the same time. Make sure the camera goes into the holder, and you'll have to kind of push it in there a little bit. You'll feel it seat once it goes in there, and you don't have to force it, just nice easy pressure. And then the board will sit on top of these pins as long as everything's in right. There we go. So it doesn't actually surround the pins, it actually sits kind of on top of them. Now when you take your top cover, which has the buttons on it, and these are the buttons here on the board, if you can see those, you just want to make sure that you very slowly and carefully slide these back together. You might have to reach your finger in there and kind of wiggle the board around a little bit, just like that. And then nice easy pressure. You don't have to squeeze very hard, and it'll pop right into place. So the gap is even all the way around. That's locked down all the way. So now we'll go ahead and put the screws back in. I got one that's floating around in here. Perfect. We'll use that one as the first one. And you don't have to get gorilla tight with these either. You can actually be pretty gently tight. All you want to do is make sure the halves are connected and that the board's not moving around inside the camera box. So get these in there. I like the Runcam 2s because they are a very narrow profile. They're a lot shorter than any of the GoPros. And typically I will just mount them with Velcro. They're pretty light. So as you can see, I got Velcro here, and on my quad I use Velcro hold. But on the airplanes and stuff, typically I'll just use the Home Depot 10-pound Velcro it right on, and they're really good and stable. So all right, let's put the lens cover back on. And again, these two screws for the lens protector are tapered, so real easy not to mix them up. And again, you don't have to get Gorilla tight. You can just give it a good snug. That's about it. All right, so the camera is put back together. Now we're going to put the memory card back in. Throw the battery in it. Rear cover. And let's see if it'll fire up. Ah, there we go. So the only thing I have to do now is I need to get on my phone, connect the Wi-Fi, set up my camera settings, and this one will be ready to go. And I'll do the same with this one that I've already replaced the board in. And there we go. So for the price of one camera, for the two boards, I have now two working Runcam 2s. So it's a simple, quick process. As you can see, it only took us about 10 minutes to change that out. Worth every minute, simply because of the fact that now you have your Runcams working again. Worth the money. So thanks a lot for watching, guys. Please like and subscribe. We'll be doing a little bit more tech stuff. This was just an easy one, and I got the boards today, so I thought we'd blow that one out. But we'll be doing some more flying this weekend, getting some more videos. And you might even see a crash or two. So thanks a lot for watching, and like, subscribe, and don't forget to share if any of this interests you and will interest anybody you know. I appreciate it. Have a good night, and we'll see you guys this weekend.